doesn't matter what the age of a person is, or whether they're in their basement, or whether they're in a mosque or somewhere else. When you are engaged in activities that explicitly promote or advocate terrorism, that is a serious criminal offense, no matter who you are.
Prime Minister Stephen Harper is coming under attack by Muslim lobbyists for daring to suggest that radicalization is happening in Canadian mosques. As I told you earlier today, the National Council of Canadian Muslims are asking for an apology, and Thomas Mulcair joined in.
It was irresponsible of the Prime Minister to throw the mosques into his comments. It was a form of Islamophobia, and it was wrong. So he should realize that he was wrong to do that and simply apologize to the Muslim community who want to be partners on these issues.
But is it true or not true? Is there radicalization happening in Canadian mosques? Well, what do other Muslim leaders say? The founder of the Canadian Centre for Intelligence and Analysis, Jonathan Levy, is here to bring us the facts from the voices of Muslim leaders. Great to see you again, Jonathan. You were a retired lieutenant colonel with the Israel Defense Forces on their counterterrorism file. You speak Arabic, you speak the Persian language of Farsi, and you have gone online and listened to hundreds of hours of comments by Canadian Muslim imams in their mosques in Arabic, and you've translated some of that for us. We showed some yesterday. We're going to do a different thing today. Instead of showing another radicalizing mosque, that's what we did yesterday. We showed a mosque in Edmonton where the guy was saying he was for an Islamic State, for the Mujahideen. We're going to do something different today. You have brought with you several clips of Muslim leaders themselves decrying radicalization in mosques. So this isn't Stephen Harper's opinion. This is not your opinion. These are Canadian Muslim imams saying, oh my God, there's radicalization. Am I right?
Yes, mainstream imams, not those who are considered progressive, or those who are secular Muslim leadership. No, the mainstream imam.
So this isn't the Tariq Fata dissident. This is someone who's actually leading a big congregation.
Yes, Sunni and Shiite.
All right. Well, let's get into the first. By the way, I totally agree with things that Tariq Fata says, but what we're talking about here is appealing to the authority of mainstream Canadian imams who are freaked out by what they see. Let's roll the first video, and then you can tell us what this means afterwards.
I was recruited by a group, Takfir al-Hijra, this Egyptian fella who came here and married somebody locally so he could take the citizenship, who CSIS is watching, and he's still in Canada. He started filling my head with ideas that it was okay to lie, steal, and cheat, and that we're in a perpetual war. Now, thank God I never lied, stealed, and cheated anyone, and that was the point I got out. But his ideology is much equal to that of ISIS, and they came as political refugees. And I'd like to say this, not every Muslim ruler who kicked somebody out of their country necessarily was good for Canada. Some of them came here and have exploited the Canadian citizenship to, in fact, spew their ideas and try to cause havoc around the world.
Now, the first thing I notice, of course, is his English is perfect because he's a convert to Islam. He's a bit of a Muslim leader. That's Bruce Heft. Is that his name?
Robert Mohammed Heft.
Robert Mohammed Heft. Sorry, I got his first name wrong. Robert Mohammed Heft. So he is, I mean, I think he would disagree with me on most things. He would call me an Islamophobe or whatever. But he himself is saying that there are radicals here who come here to spread Islamic State ideology.
That's from his own experience. That happened in the year 2000. He said that he was attracted to such ideology. But more, of course, he's not following these guys, these radicals. But the important point here is that he said this is as a pattern. People come from the Middle East and spread hatred, spread radicalism.
And just because someone was kicked out of a Middle Eastern country doesn't mean they were a good guy refugee trying to get away from it. We've got a couple more clips, so I want to go straight to them. Here is a statement by a Muslim imam that Salafis, which is that another way of saying Wahhabi extremist Islam, are causing disunity in Canada. Let's take a look at this one.
In Canada, even in Canada and in other countries, the same complaints I receive. This particular group, members of the Salafi group, causing fitna, disunity, problems, conflicts in masjids.
Masjid, that's the Arabic word for mosque, right? Now, is this guy also a convert? No, he was born Muslim.
Yes.
He preaches in Canada.
Yes.
And he's saying that the Wahhabi or the Salafi Muslims are causing conflicts
Yes.
in Canada.
He said that they are doing brainwashing. They call the Salafi ideology disease, and he warned his congregation: do not go to the Salafi mosques. This was a warning.
Yeah, now these guys are not liberals. These guys are not lovey-dovey peaceniks. These are, they would call themselves conservative or even fundamentalist imams. They're just saying there is radicalization here.
They believe in implementation of the Sharia.
So they believe in Sharia law, but they're saying there are violent troublemakers. I want to show one more clip. This is about Wahhabis or Salafis versus the rest of Muslims. Let's take a look.
We have to be vigilant as centers, as a community, and as individuals. 10 of them who have gone from Canada and have joined ISIS forces over there, not as a Shia Sunni issue, but as Salafi against the rest of the Muslim world.
So again, I mean, this guy is no liberal, but he is a Toronto imam saying that there is this infiltration here. I want to ask you, and he was talking about Islamic State going over there. Is this rooted to Saudi financing of Canadian mosques? Because Saudi Arabia not just has a regular foreign ministry, they have a religious foreign ministry that props up mosques even in Canada. Is that really the fountain, the money that comes with the radical preachers?
According to one of the imams, the imam from Brampton, he said that these imams go to Al-Madinah University in Saudi Arabia and come here to spread the radical ideology. And we know that Saudi Arabia, but not only in Saudi Arabia, but also other countries from the Gulf state, give money to radical organizations worldwide, and this is including Canada in some occasions.
So these three Muslim imams we just saw here who are worried about Salafi or Wahhabi Islam, obviously they're not funded by Saudi Arabia. I don't know if you've made this a focus of your studies. What percentage of Canadian mosques are financed either by Saudis or other Gulf states that want radicalism? Could you make a guess?
For my own research, I know that millions of dollars during the last few decades were transferred from Saudi Arabia, from Kuwait, from Qatar, from other states to mosques and to Islamic centers in Canada. In Mississauga, in one case in the big mosque in Ottawa and other places.
In Calgary too, I know that
Calgary,
the Saudis boast about that. Nice to have you on the show, Jonathan. You're bringing the kind of news and investigations that no other TV channel in Canada is doing. So thank you for bringing that to Sun viewers.